Universe 7 showed their strength in the Tournament of Power, with both Nappa and Goku unlocking new forms. So what path will everyone go down next? We'll cover all that and more in this finale of What If Nappa Survived. Moro escapes the Galactic Patrol prison, and with no Majin Buu, Beerus isn't really too sure of where to go, so he just recruits the strongest people he could find on Earth, which happen to be the Saiyans there. Goku, Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz go out to fight Moro. There is an issue though. Moro gets to Namek before them because they don't have any way of teleporting there. So he does get a good amount of energy, and he nearly collects all the Dragon Balls. When they get there, he has around 5 of them. Vegeta's the first one to try and fight him, going into Blue Limit Breaker. He overwhelms Moro with this, but even though the gap in power is pretty big, that does work in Moro's favor. He starts rapidly draining energy from Vegeta. He doesn't get all of his power, but he gets enough to start contending with him, until Nappa decides to swap out, seeing that Vegeta's strength isn't going to be able to do anything here. If Vegeta keeps on fighting him, he'll just keep getting stronger and stronger until he's unstoppable. So they need to think outside the box and use a different type of power, which is exactly where he comes in. Nappa goes into Ultra Ego. He has a feeling that with this form, he'll be able to counter Moro, and it works exactly as he intended. Sure, Moro is going to try and steal his energy, but it doesn't really work out. Moro realizes that it's some sort of godly form, particularly the power of a god of destruction. He's a little bit surprised to see that from a mortal, but Nappa says he's no normal mortal. They're all gods now, and as Nappa starts to realize he has Moro outclassed here, he has a little bit of fun with the fight. Moro desperately tries to take more energy from him, but none of it works. When he tries to take energy, it harms Moro, so he aims to take it from Goku or Vegeta instead. But Nappa's relentless. Moro doesn't have the opportunity for it. While Nappa continues fighting, Goku goes to find Cranberry and stop him from getting the Dragon Balls. Vegeta watches on, and amidst the battle, Moro then gets Hakai'd, but not by Nappa. Vegeta jumps in, trying to replicate one of Nappa's attacks, and he's able to pull off a perfect Hakai, surprising Nappa as well. It works to erase Moro, killing him. Vegeta says that after the Tournament of Power, he started observing Nappa and Beerus more closely, and he started to practice Hakais himself. Soon enough, he'll have that same Ultra Ego form, and that makes Nappa pretty happy. Though, there is one thing that Nappa's kind of concerned about now. Seeing Moro gets Nappa to realize that he's close to the point where he's going to start rapidly aging. By the time Nappa arrived in the Saiyan saga, he was somewhere in his 50s. It's been almost 20 years since then, so Nappa's in his mid to late 70s by now. And Saiyans start to rapidly age around age 80. For all Nappa knows, it could start next year. Maybe he does have a few years left, but it gets him thinking about his mortality. He's not scared of death or anything, he's just concerned that he's not going to be able to fight for much longer. And he doesn't like that. He loves fighting, and he just got this great new power, and he's not going to be able to use it. They all go back to Beerus' planet. Vegeta eventually unlocks Ultra Ego for himself, while Goku realizes he needs to catch up quickly with Ultra Instinct. Though Ultra Instinct's going to be tougher for him to unlock than it is for them to unlock Ultra Ego, just because of how advanced that form is. Like, all things considered, Vegeta unlocked Ultra Ego pretty quickly once he started training with Beerus. As for Goku, it took him a while to get the hang of Ultra Instinct, which kind of makes sense. It's an angel technique. Even the gods of destruction couldn't pull it off. So he's behind right now, but not for much longer. And Raditz has neither form. He doesn't know which path he's going to pursue, but he's going to follow his brother because Kakarot seems to be developing pretty quickly, and he feels he can get the hang of Ultra Instinct. He always feels like he's behind though, but he doesn't mind. At the very least, it's going to help him stay motivated forever. But as they're all training on Beerus' planet, Nappa brings up his issue to Beerus. He's not going to be able to fight for much longer, and Beerus says that might not be the case. Of course, Beerus was looking for a rival, but he also wanted to find the next god of destruction for Universe 7, and he could use a good candidate. Does Nappa remember that Topo guy that he fought? Of course he does. Well, Beerus says he wants someone like that, someone he could personally train as his successor. Whis has given some thought to it too. Goku is definitely not going to accept the job. They already knew that. As for Raditz, maybe he would, but they doubt it. For Vegeta, his powers fit that, especially with him now having Ultra Ego. But Vegeta has too many attachments on Earth. So Beerus asked Nappa, does he want to become the next god of destruction? He didn't actually consider that, but he's going to think on that. He kind of likes the idea. Plus, if he does become the next god of destruction, he doesn't have to worry about dying. He'll have extra longevity. Look at Beerus, he's millions of years old. Nappa could basically live as long as he wants to. Though he's definitely not going to have a lot of time to think, only about a few years. If he's going to accept this offer, he wants to accept it while he's in his physical prime, which is fleeting. Let's go to Earth for a bit. Of course, we've skipped the events of Broly, and Granola's not going to happen here without Frieza. So it's business as usual for the Heaters and Granola. But one thing that will still happen is Superhero. Dr. Heto's freed from prison, recruited by Red Pharmaceuticals. One issue is that the Gammas are going to be weaker than normal because they don't have data up to the Moro arc. The people they're fighting are going to be stronger than normal too. Now, they're sent to go after all of Goku's alien friends. Gamma 2 goes after Piccolo, while Gamma 1 is sent after another strong one, Tien. They assume he's an alien, and to an extent, they're right, he's partially alien, but they also know he's one of the stronger ones too. They don't know where the others are, like Vegeta, Nappa, Raditz, or anyone, but they'll stop these fiends first. Gamma 2's fight with Piccolo is pretty short-lived because he goes ultimate, which pushes Gamma 2 to his limit, and then he shows off something else on top of that. He's finally unlocked his orange form, and with a single attack, he's able to defeat Gamma 2. Meanwhile, Gamma 1's fighting Tien. Unfortunately for him, the other humans are there too. Krillin and Yamcha want to test out their ultimate forms more, so they've been training with Tien, who's the strongest of them. You know, while Tien is behind the others like the Saiyans or even Piccolo, he's glad he's at least strong enough to be considered a threat by the Red Ribbon Army still. That's pretty funny to him. Ultimate Tien, Yamcha, and Krillin all fight Gamma 1 together, and with a combined effort, they're able to defeat him as well. Head was watching on completely shocked. He didn't think they'd be defeated that quickly, and of course that makes Magenta panic. They don't need to wait for Cell Max to be under mind control or anything. Hedo tells him to not unleash him yet, but Magenta doesn't listen. He activates Cell Max. Hedo quickly escapes Red Pharmaceuticals as the whole place is destroyed by Cell Max, and he sends out a warning to Gamma 1 and 2. Unlike these two androids, everyone could sense Cell Max's power. They all rush to go fight him, including the Gammas. Plus, someone who wasn't a target of the Gammas shows up, realizing he might be needed there. It's Gohan. And while he is a lot busier nowadays, he still has kept up with his training. He has a much better regimen thanks to having it instilled in him so early. With Goku being alive over the 7 years, he never really slacked off completely. Sure, he wasn't training as much as the people around him, but he's been very consistent, which let him keep up his power, and actually grow stronger than normal too. Not by a considerable amount, but to the point where he's actually one of the strongest people at the moment, particularly because he's awakened a new type of power. Once they see Cell Max, he decides he's not going to hold back. Piccolo's seen this form already because he's been training with Gohan a lot, and this is the same type of thing that Nappa and Goku wanted to try awaken within him. Neither of them has seen it yet because they've been on Beerus' planet for so long, but they knew Gohan had this power within him. Amidst his training with Piccolo, Gohan was able to unlock his beast form, displaying it against Cell Max and defeating him with ease. And he doesn't even know about Cell Max's weak spot right now. He just defeats him like any other normal fighter, completely incinerating him with a Kamehameha. Piccolo isn't really that surprised because he's been training with Gohan, but it is kinda crazy seeing that power in a serious battle. And as for the others there, like Tien, Krillin, and Yamcha, they're pretty shocked. They always knew Gohan was strong, but not like that. Also, Cell Max was pretty scary, and thankfully, Hedo was able to stop Magenta. And they've obviously come to see that the Gammas aren't bad people, they were just misguided. And Hedo did know that what he was doing was wrong, but he got what he wanted. He got the money from it, and he was able to create his Gammas. Plus, he got out of prison, which is nice. So, they just let him be, with the Gammas being let loose too. It wouldn't hurt to have a few more superheroes on Earth. Gohan especially likes the idea. Maybe the great Saiyaman 1 and 2 could team up with Gammas 1 and 2. He even shows off some of his poses, and Gamma 2 loves it. Eventually, Gohan does go to Beerus' planet to show off this power, fighting against the others there. Goku by this point does have Ultra Instinct. Now, I think he would get the complete version of Ultra Instinct by this point, but he's going to be a little bit behind. He didn't have the events of the Moro arc, nor the Granola arc, and on top of that, he didn't unlock this until after the Tournament of Power. Originally, he did get the completed version during the tournament, then he used it again in the Moro arc, and then he was able to use it a lot more efficiently in the Granola arc. He had to do this all on his own here, so he's going to be a bit behind with his understanding of it. But still, being able to do that willingly is great. Raditz has tapped into Omen here and there too. So, Gohan fights Goku, defeating him pretty quickly because Gohan's a little bit stronger than normal and Goku's a little bit weaker than normal. He tests out the power against Nappa and Vegeta too, and much to their surprise, Gohan's the strongest of them right now. Goku's very glad to see it, and Nappa is too. He always knew that Gohan had something weird within him. Ever since they first fought on Earth, and then their encounter on Namek, he knew Gohan's raid was unlike any other Saiyan. Vegeta of course noticed that too, realizing that Gohan had some great potential locked away. And Raditz of course got to see that firsthand as well. But Gohan and Piccolo hear some more news. Nappa now has a job offer from Beerus, and he accepted it. He's going to be Universe 7's next god of destruction. He officially became a candidate, and the best part is, he's not going to be rapidly aging soon. He's going to stay in his prime for the rest of his life, however long that may be. Goku's happy for him, but he can never do anything like that. And Vegeta feels kind of the same. Raditz says it's going to be weird because they're all going to die before Nappa, and Nappa's the oldest of them. They think the universe is going to be in good hands at least, but still. Nappa says it wasn't really a tough decision. Sure, he did grow attached to the people on Earth, but he's a Saiyan at heart. He loves fighting. He wants to do that for as long as possible. And compared to the other Saiyans, him being a much more traditional Saiyan made this choice a lot easier. This is part of his roots. It's part of who he is. And unlike Goku or Vegeta, he doesn't have earthly attachments to family or anything. Sure, he's got a lot of friends and allies on Earth, but those two want to grow old with their families and be with them as long as possible. It's a double-edged sword for Nappa. He never got that type of intimacy, but it also means less things holding him down, so he kind of likes it. Again, being a more traditional Saiyan, forming bonds and connections like that was never for him. Plus, it'll be great for his wrestling career. They're gonna think he's some sort of freak of nature because he's gonna definitely be going back to Earth from time to time. And 100 years down the line, they're gonna wonder why he's still alive. And they won't even realize he's gonna live for millions of years beyond that. Plus, the audience is gonna love his new transformation and tricks. But with Nappa knowing he's gonna get to explore a lot of the universe now, he does wonder, what else is out there in Universe 7? What other strong warriors exist? He spends some time looking. Of course, there's a lot of people in other universes that are really strong, and people who have lived for a while. Like he's definitely gonna want to fight Hit someday, or Jiren again. And he meets with Toppo more and more. The two of them become rivals. But within his own universe, what's out there? He wants to help make his universe a lot stronger. He's a little bit bummed to find out that there's not many strong people left in Universe 7. Sure, there's some strong Galactic Patrol prisoners, but, I mean, they are prisoners. Moro was pretty impressive too, even though his power wasn't physical, at least in his old age. He wouldn't come across Granola or the Heaters either because they are relatively weak compared to everyone. But amidst his search, Nappa does find one really weird planet. It's a planetoid called Vampa, and he descends on the planet. He looks around. He might have just been imagining things because there's no one here. Until somebody jumps out of nowhere and attacks him, and Nappa's jaw nearly drops when he sees who it is. He doesn't know this guy, but he's a Saiyan. He's met Broly. Paragus is probably dead though. He was already pretty old, and Nappa doesn't find Broly until after Superhero. Broly recently lost Paragus. He's been here alone on this planet. And he's been trained to hate Saiyans, but the good thing is Nappa's not Vegeta, so he's not immediately hostile towards him. Nappa explains who he is, and then he learns about Broly too. And you know, Nappa actually remembers hearing about this. I have a feeling he'd know Paragus, or at least know of him. And he definitely would have heard of King Vegeta sending Broly away. He doesn't say any of this because he wants to be on Broly's good side, but he's glad to have found another Saiyan out there. Although, Broly definitely isn't very Saiyan-like either. Partially because he's just gentler in general, but also because he grew up on a deserted planet for the past few decades. Nappa brings him to Earth and introduces him to everybody. But Nappa found out something really interesting. This guy's got a lot of power stored away. What he doesn't realize is that Broly was brainwashed to hate Vegeta. So, when he comes to Earth to meet everyone, he sees Vegeta, and he loses it. Thankfully, everyone here is strong enough to stop him, even though he ends up going berserk. But that's just more of a reason for Nappa to be interested in him. It's nice to know that this universe still does have surprises in store for him. It's going to be fun becoming God of Destruction. And with that, we'll end off our story here. What'd you guys think about this scenario? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, thanks for supporting the scenario all the way through, and I'll see you all in my next video.